Hey guys, it's Mr. Bosher. Today we're just gonna kind of review converse, inverse, and contrapositive, and just to make sure that we have that really strong before we move on to like trying to check if things are true or not. That's gonna be our next thing. So today I'm just gonna do like I think two examples from your Alex assignment, um, just in case you're like, okay, I tried, I watched the video, I'm not sure what's going on. Then you can just watch this, and hopefully it's a little bit more organized, a little bit easier to see because it looks like your assignment. Okay, so first things first, I'm just going to kind of review what we talked about last time. All right, so what's going to happen on these questions is that at the very top they're going to give you the conditional statement, right? It says it right there, conditional statements. Remember that conditional statements have two parts, the if and the then. Okay, so our original if is going to be if a figure is a square, and our original then is going to say then the figure has at least four sides. I'm going to call this original if and then. The if is going to be P, and the then is going to be Q. Okay? So anytime I say P, you're going to just write a figure is a square. Anytime I say Q, you're going to write the figure has at least four sides. And you know what? I'm going to make that even easier to see because I'm going to erase that part of the underline. Okay? P only refers to a figure is a square, and Q only refers to the figure has at least four sides. The if and the then are always going to be in those spots, right? So they don't really get dragged along with the statements. Okay, so that's our first one, right? And we would say that the original statement, right, the original conditional statement would be P goes to Q. Or we would read this as if P, then Q. Okay? All you're going to have to do as you work through your assignment is remember, okay, well, how does a converse work? How does a contrapositive work? How does an inverse work, right? How does that change the formula right there? Okay? Well, that's what I'm going to remind you of today. Converse, remember, is just the one where that we flip it. I think I remember a student last year saying that converse kind of looks like it says coin in the beginning, and you can flip a coin, so I'm going to flip my P and Q. Okay? That's the closest thing I got for you remembering converse. So converse looks like it has the word coin in it. You can flip a coin, so you're going to flip P and Q. They're going to swap places. Okay? So now it's saying if P, we're going to say if Q, then P. They swap. All right? So if I go to your assignment, I'm going to see, well, what are my options? And I'm going to pick the one that just says if Q, the figure has at least four sides. I'm going to put that first. Then P, which we said a figure is a square. Okay? So I'm going to go to your actual web page because I can't write on the web page, so I have to jump between the notes and the web page. And we said, okay, for the converse, I said if Q, which was the figure has at least four sides. So I'm going to say if the figure, or if a figure has at least four sides. Boom. Okay? Then P. So if I go back, remember, we're going to say the second part is going to be P, which is the blue underline, which is a figure is a square. So I'm going to say then, what do I got? The figure is a square. And is that simple, right? It's just that simple. Okay? Let's try contrapositive. The way that we remember contrapositive is that it's the most complicated word. So it's going to be the most complicated formula, right? So the contrapositive said this. I need to already swap them, right? I have to swap them again. So it's going to be Q first. But I don't want regular Q. I want negation Q. Basically, not Q, right? And I'll write out what that would look like in a second. And then we're going to go to negation P, or not P, right? So if we want more detail, what would negation Q kind of look like? Well, negation Q would say the figure does not, right, there's the negation, have at least four sides. Close enough, okay? The figure does not have at least 4 sides. What would negation P look like? Well, P was a figure is a square, so I'm going to say the figure is not a square, right? I just add the word not for the negations. So now I'm going to go to the actual ALEKS assignment and say, okay, well, in the first one, I want to put negation Q, which is the figure does not have at least 4 sides. So I'm going to start with that because my formula right here tells me to start with that, okay? So I want to take Q and negate it as my first thing, which we said not 4 sides. So a figure does not have at least 4 sides. Cool. The then, what did we say was the then? It was negation P, right? Which says it is not a square. So we're going to go and say, well, in the second spot, I'm going to put, where is it? Right there. We're going to say, then the figure is not a square. And that's how you do contrapositive, right? Then we have inverse. Last one is inverse. Remember that inverse in algebra meant opposite, right? Well, the opposite for our statements will be their negations, right? So originally we had is a square. If we look up here, right? Is a square. The opposite of that would be the negation is not a square. Okay, so all the inverse does is say, hey, I just want you to say the opposite of what you originally said. So what does that look like? Well, I'm not going to swap places, okay? I'm just going to say the opposite of each statement, which is negation P goes to negation Q. Basically, take what you said the first time, but add nots into them. So my original P said a figure is a square, but I want the negation or the not version. So I'm going to say the beginning of my statement is going to say not a square. So I go to the assignment, and I say, well, the first thing is not a square. I want to start with the same thing, but just make it not, right? Add the word not. Then I go back over and I say, okay, the second thing I need to do is negation Q. Well, Q originally was I have at least 4 sides. So now I'm going to say do not have at least 4 sides. All right. So I go to my assignment and say second part is not 4 sides. So the figure does not have at least 4 sides. And that would be our assignment. Okay. I think that basically covers it. I think I just kind of waste your time if I did a second one, because they're basically the same. The only thing I could see them like doing to make it difficult is they change like the order. Like maybe they start you like with having to do the inverse rather than the converse, and maybe the last one is contrapositive instead of inverse. Okay, but just make sure you read the problem, and that goes with every problem, right? Just make sure you know what they're asking for, because the formulas never change. Right? If you forgot the formulas, here they are. Okay? This one is converse. You get this one. Contrapositive, you get that one. And inverse, you get that one. I just want you to make sure you know those formulas, because this unit is very easy if you can memorize that. Like almost all of the unit we're going to do right now is, hey, can you write a converse or an inverse or a contrapositive? So if you can get those memorized, it's pretty easy, right? It's pretty simple. Okay? So just work on that. If you have questions or if something just isn't clicking and you're struggling, send me a Canvas message, let me know. But other than that, today is a work day, so you can get hopefully caught up and get to this point. Because tomorrow, we're going to take these statements and start checking if they're true or not, okay, and see if we can find any patterns. So you want to make sure you know how to do this to make tomorrow easier, okay? Other than that, I have nothing else, so good luck and have a great day.